Welcome to the kill-death ratio, where I count all my kills and all my deaths. Today, I'm playing Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Released in 2023 and developed by Respawn Entertainment, we join Cal Kestis 5 years after the events of Fallen Order. With his group fractured, he continues the fight against the Imperials as part of the Resistance until he's made privy to a planet beyond the reach of the Empire that could serve as a safe haven for those they want dead. Jedi Survivor expands upon everything his predecessor built, while adding much needed quality of life improvements. Will Cal turn to the dark side as he continues to add to his already impressive kill count?
You think we're safe here? We should be.
We begin with a recap of Fallen Order, and I select Jedi Knight difficulty, which lines up with Jedi Master difficulty from the previous game. Cal has been taken prisoner by an unknown group that plans to deliver him to Imperial bootlicker Senator Sejan on Coruscant. We're aggressively escorted through level 2046 that touches upon the Empire's iron grip it has on its citizens. We're dropped at the feet of Sejan, a Powin like the Grand Inquisitor seen in Rebels and Obi-Wan. He begins his monologue by letting the player know that Cal has been working with Saw Gerrera's resistance the last 5 years. While he babbles on about Cal's arrogance, the best droid in all of Star Wars is spotted laying down a device.
Did you really think you could capture me?
Cal tells the senator he wants the intel stored on his little ship, while BD-1 takes the cuffs off him. Then we yank our lightsaber out of Sejan's hands to tally up the first kills of the game while he attempts to escape. But he's outsmarted by a cat-sized droid who activates an EMP device that sends Sejan's yacht crashing into the platform we're standing on, and forcing us into our first uncharted climbing section that's ended by classic stormtrooper misses. We land on our feet and casually kill off the storm and scout trooper searching for us, while I revel in the beauty that is Cal remembering the skills he learned from Fallen Order. As much as I love the God of War series, it always irked me that Kratos' powers are reset in every entry. Just let me feel like a god, damn it! Anyways, as Cal does a bit more climbing, the smug trooper believes he has Cal dead to rights, while one of Cal's captors walks up and shoots him instead. He takes his helmet off and we're introduced to newcomer Bo Dakuna, played by Noshir Dalal, who has a long list of acting credits that includes other Star Wars projects such as The Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi, The Old Republic, and Squadrons. Bo is a mercenary that's simply looking to provide for his daughter after the Empire murdered his wife, and he becomes one of Cal's most loyal crew members during the game. He accompanies us as we explore Coruscant, continuing to take out the Imperials we encounter, while learning even more Force abilities and exacting a little revenge on the security droid that bashed us up earlier. We link up with Bravo, who escorts us to the rest of the crew, and we meet Gabs and the Clatuinian twins Koob and Liz. They assist Cal with breaking into the Senator's ship, where we Jedi mind trick him into showing us the Empire's design and malice. Sejan justifies his actions by claiming his brown-nosing ass kept his people alive because there's no use in fighting the Imperials. I'm a hard disagree with that mindset and take this coward with us, but as we leave, the crew gets attacked and the Senator's life is ended by the saber of the Ninth Sister. So, remember back in the Fallen Order video I said there's a chance she isn't dead because we never saw her body.
Kestis!
Their surprise attack wipes out half the crew with only Cal, Bode, and Bravo remaining, and just as Cal angrily approaches the Inquisitor, one of their ships crashes into the landing, sending me down into Undercity Meats to get a good look at the food being sold to the people of Coruscant.
Meat.
I rack up more Imperial corpses and along the way learn another Force ability that lets me confuse an enemy into fighting for me. I don't use this ability a whole lot, but I'll count their kills as my own since Cal is influencing them to do his dirty work. Eventually Cal finds himself pinned down, but Bode crushes them using the Senator's yacht, and we perform a maneuver we learned way back on Braca when trying to escape Trilla. And then we go toe-to-toe with the Ninth Sister. After an extremely fun few minutes of fighting, we defeat her, and Cal, being the nice, kind-hearted soul he is, offers forgiveness.
Your name was Masana Tide. It's time to set you free.
That's a funny way to forgive somebody. And one way to confirm she is actually dead this time. Unless we want even more Inquisitors on our tail, we need to get off this planet, but first I have a duty to push my kill total over 100 while Bode and Bravo assist in downing some enemies. The three of us split up into our own ships while Cal gives a locator beacon to Bode so they can link up after transferring the intel to Saw Gerrera and letting things cool down a bit. But our escape gets all tied up and Bravo is eliminated in the process. We damage the Mantis during our getaway but manage to leave Coruscant relatively unscathed physically. However, emotionally, we are fucking wrecked. Cal adds to that feeling by watching a holo movie showing his old crew who went their own separate ways sometime after Fallen Order due to Cal's obsession with fighting the Empire. In the meantime, I switch my lightsaber color from boring blue to pimpy purple and fly to Koboh so Grease can help fix the damage to the Mantis. BD and Cal marvel at the giant space butthole during their approach, but as they enter the atmosphere, they slam into the ground and come up short of their goal. During the game, there are trainings and force tears that contain combat scenarios, but any kills I earn during those will not be counted towards the overall kill total since they aren't real kills. With the Mantis inoperable, I need to traverse Koboh's landscape to get to Grease and meet the planet's diverse wildlife alongside some local raiders that are terrorizing the citizens and me as I forget to heal and tally up my first death. They've been able to reprogram Clone War era battle droids to fight alongside them, but they're not the only droids I encounter, with some roller mines providing a good chunk of kills before I reach Rambler's Reach. I finally enter the town to watch the frog-like Turgle get tossed out of the saloon by some raiders that intend to kill him for selling a fake key. The leader of the raiders is a Jedi named Ravis, a species that's somewhat similar to the hunters in the Halo series. They're just made up of tentacles instead of worms, and can regenerate so quickly that the only way to kill them is to destroy the brain. Ravis orders the death of Turgle, but Cal fucking loves him some frogs and won't let that happen. Surprised to see a Jedi, he orders his underling to take me on, but Zeke is meek and dies within seconds. Impressed by my saber skills, Ravis withdraws peacefully and even compliments Cal on his way out.
What a delight to see one of your kind in action after all these years.
Shut the fuck up, Ravis, it's Turgle time.
This is the one who stood up to the Bedlam Raiders!
Inside the saloon, Grease embraces Cal and asks him to stay a while by going down to the basement to take a power nap.
Weirdo.
After catching up a bit and some reminding from Grease that he needs to hit that like button and force choke subscribe before he goes down into the secret underground tunnels beneath the saloon to find a gyro module for the Mantis. He warns of a pest problem that I take care of and locate the part I need, only for BD to fall through the floor and open a way into an abandoned High Republic structure. We enter the chamber and locate an old droid from that era, clutching what resembles the key Turgle tried to sell to the Raiders. I am so happy that Respawn and Lucasfilm decided to dive into some of the history of the High Republic. Star Wars has a vast universe that they can explore, yet we remain stuck in the Skywalker era. This game takes place the same year the Obi-Wan series does, but it remains largely detached from existing stories outside of some Easter eggs and getting a little boba on the side. Using his Force Echo ability, Cal looks back to find out a Jedi named Santari Kree wiped the memory of the droid so its knowledge can't fall into the wrong hands or claws or paws or whatever. Kree hands the droid the key, which she calls a tuner, and they look up to catch the first showing of Moonfall. Kree urges the droid to get to an array in the forest and uses the tuner there so that the key to Tanalorr cannot be lost. We bounce back to Cal with a suddenly active droid that's unable to move. We offer to help free Z and fix it back up while the droid tells us that Tanalorr is a planet hidden inside the anomaly near Koboh that was to become a bastion for the Jedi Order. We escort Z to the town to find Boda's there looking for us, and we toss the part to Grease so he can fix the Mantis. Z asks Cal to open the forest array, but before we do, Grease has some general life advice to impart.
Use the back door, would you?
This is where we get our first real taste of how massive and intricate these maps are while I head to the array and kill enough to get my total into the 200s and my death into the 2s. Stig Asmussen returns to direct and built upon what they learned from Fallen Order by taking the same Metroidvania approach to level design and dialing that bitch up to 10. These planets are a ton of fun to explore, and with every new ability you unlock, several more paths open up. I want Star Wars games like this with a sense of exploration, and with EA's exclusive contract expiring this year, I'm hopeful we'll get more awesome games like this from other studios while Respawn continues their work on the Jedi trilogy. After over an hour of exploration and murder, Cal approaches this Lorax looking bat called a Relter. It makes it apparent his presence is neither appreciated or wanted, but after a quick flashback with Seer telling Cal he doesn't always need to fight, we watch as he calms the Relter down and tames his first beast. We force it to fly to our destination, where I tack on a few more kills. Some spy droids get a good look at Cal's sexy ass entering the array that houses a Bacta tank storing an unknown individual. Wanting to find out more, Cal touches his hand to the glass and experiences some distant memories of Santari Kree and another Jedi, Dagan Gera, on Tanalorr. Dagan is showing Santari around and details his plans to build a Jedi temple on the planet with the purpose of training initiates, but he doesn't call the shots and needs the Jedi Council to approve. While impatiently waiting for their green light, Tanalorr is invaded by marauders called the Nile, and while Dagan prepares to fight, he turns to the camera and tells me something my mom told me back on that fateful day in 1997 when I entered her room at night.
You're not supposed to be here.
You know who is supposed to be here though? Cody Fern. Seen in a few seasons of American Horror Story, Cody's first foray into video games is a memorable one, as he plays a long-forgotten High Republic Jedi who is in desperate need of some sunlight. We flip back to Cal and realize Dagan is awake and high-fiving our boy from inside the tank. Cal picks up Dagan's lightsaber and drains the tank so he can unload the last 10 years of trauma onto him. He hands his saber over, saying they can take on the Empire together, but we quickly realize that Dagan is not really interested in all that. He intends to go back to Tanalorr and is giddy about the Jedi Council's downfall as he blames them for abandoning him. We get this awesome freaking sequence showing Dagan bleeding his kyber crystal so he can turn his lightsaber red while he fully commits to the dark side, and turns to take on Cal. Once that skirmish is over, Dagan flips Cal the bird and dips out with Ravis while a massive beam erupts from the array towards the shattered moon. Hoping to one day tame Dagan, we head out and practice on the land base of Neko, and while exploring we catch a glimpse of the Mantis flying into town. I head back there and eliminate whatever I encounter, and while I typically stick to story content in these videos, I absolutely had to go and take on the Rancor that can be found in some mines nearby. It's able to kill me twice, but once I overcome it, I obtain one of the best perks in the game that lets me shatter blocks quite easily. I make it back to the Mantis, sporting that Leon Kennedy fit, much to the chagrin of Cameron Monaghan.
But you haven't mentioned a poncho.
I have a quick chat with Z, who has been all caught up on what's happened the last couple hundred years, and wants none of that, electing to hang out at the saloon instead. We update Grease and Bode on what transpired in the forest, and let them know that Tanalorr can be found within the Abyss, and if they find a way to get there, they can make a home for themselves without fear of the Empire finding them. To accomplish this, we need old Greasy money to fly this ship and Bode to stick around. They both agree, and we fly to Jedha to locate Seer, who is now a member of the Hidden Path, a group that shelters people from the Empire and who will send out an unknown escort to guide us to their hideout. I'm gonna be honest, when I saw trailers for the game and saw a desert world, my first thought was not Tatooine again, but thankfully they delivered Jedha to us. Once opened up, it has some of the most fun and satisfying platforming moments in recent memory. Suddenly finding myself in the movie Tremors, I aggressively introduce myself to the local fauna and some Imperials and spot the speeder our escort was using to pick us up. While trying to partake in a bit of free climbing, a jetpack trooper overreacts to a little slip and pulls me off the building, earning himself and his friends a free trip to hell. We're treated to a masterclass in kickassery by the one and only Marin, returning to play hers Tina Evlev, who like Cameron also appeared in Shameless, but it ended not so great for her. Thankfully, in this game, she's stronger than 99% of the people we encounter and helps out with increasing my kill total. We get to Marin's speeder to find out the stormtrooper's shit and pissed in the gas tank. There's a big sandstorm approaching, which puts some urgency on getting back to the hideout, so when Cal spots these Salvador Dali looking ass things, he feels the need to brutalize anything that prevents him from getting up close and taming one. Unfortunately, with our added weight, they cannot outrun a sandstorm and tosses us off its back, which forces us to navigate the area while the flying sand exfoliates the hell out of my skin. We link up with Marin and bond over some violence against the Empire, before finding a cave that douchey Spammel is also chilling in. They use the time to catch up and huddle close for warmth, and Marin watches Cal as he sleeps.
Weirdo.
When he wakes up, we find the storm has passed and make it to the hideout. Here we find Eno Cordova is still very much alive, much to the surprise of BD1, who missed his old buddy. Tony Amendola reprises his role as Cordova from Fallen Order, but this time is more than just a hologram. We're guided to some archives that Seer is working to rebuild so that the Jedi way can be preserved. The rest of the crew joins, and Cal introduces Bode to the rest, before updating everybody on what we learned about Tanalorr and Dagan Gera. Using Seer's archives, Cordova Googles more details, but cannot locate anything on how to cross the Abyss, but finds out Dagan had a lab on Koboh's moon, which gives us our next destination. As we walk to the Mantis, Bode provides a blaster that allows Cal to fight using a saber and a firearm, which becomes my main fighting stance for the remainder of the game. We fly to the shattered moon, only to find more raiders and droids there to greet us, but the trip unveils a High Republic device that we need to take back to Cordova for examination. But as soon as I pick it up, a raider rocking a saber demands their butt plug back. I challenge them to a duel for it, and upon Drya's defeat, we're given the final stance in the game. It's modeled after Kylo Ren's fighting style, and I add that as my second stance. Before going back to Jedha, we hop back to Koboh to try and find more information on how Dagan was able to cross through the Abyss to reach Tanalorr. This venture leads to more kills that effectively bumps my total into the 400s, and provides a couple short boss fights that get absolutely bodied by Cal. Quick side note, it's well known this game was released in a pretty poor state, particularly on PC. I was playing on the PS5 and thankfully didn't have many issues, but the one thing that kept happening was BD1 waiting to scan something but never getting the opportunity to. There were several times I just gave up trying to scan shit because the prompt wouldn't register and BD would just sit there like a dog waiting for a treat, and it just made me feel bad. After abandoning BD-1's insatiable appetite for the lore, we locate another device like the one we found on the moon, but this one has an old memory showing a couple Jedi destroying it and dying at the hands of Dagan Gera. Before going back to Jedha, I decided to switch my saber color again, this time going with pure white like Ahsoka's sabers. On Jedha, we hand the slightly used BPs over to Cordova, who needs some personal time with them as well. In the meantime, we get news of the Empire's presence in some nearby ruins that contain another hideout we need to ensure stays hidden. During development of Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, Respawn worked extensively with Lucasfilm to really nail down the look and feel of Star Wars. They met every single day to make sure they delivered a solid product that is in contention for the best Star Wars game of all time. It's certainly one of my favorites, but I'd like to know what your favorite Star Wars game is. Let me know down in the comments.
Do it.
Merrin joins us to assist in this endeavor, and she's no slouch when it comes to pulling her weight. By this point, I'd have over 500 kills, but she's over here like a wrecking ball while Cal is hesitant.
Careful not to touch anything here. Don't want to wake the dead.
We get a brief respite from murder, so we can learn to use the Force to perform a mid-air dash. That opens up a whole lot more options when it comes to traversing the terrain. Terrain that's going to get destroyed by this big-ass fucking drill. With a sense of urgency, we run towards the temple to prevent the Imperials from continuing to destroy the ancient ruins.
Where did you come from?
I locate Brother Armias, who successfully evacuated most of the people here while he stayed behind to ensure the Empire couldn't obtain important details that reveal the hidden path's location. He hands those to Cal right before showing him something cool. Cal is able to prevent the debris from crushing him as well, but without Merrin's help, he may have experienced a similar fate. She hands over a charm that allows us to go through the electron shields littered throughout the galaxy. Using that, we escape the wreckage and pick on a few more enemies that's capped off with an awesome tag team kill that Merrin takes credit for. Then we hit a dead end, but Merrin is on a roll here and asks Cal if he trusts her, and then goes for it. Fuck yeah! Finally! At half-mast, Cal goes on a roller coaster ride, jumping through portals that Merrin creates so we can escape the Empire's attempts to kill us until eventually I force push the drill's own parts right into its booty hole for kill number 555. We GLaDOSly jump through some more portals until we're out of danger and we link up with Seer to hand over the contact codes Brother Armias gave his life for. During that time, Cordova was able to uncover some details on the devices we gave him. They're compasses that Santari Khri built to safely cross the abyss. After the Nihil obtained one, the Jedi Council ordered their destruction, which led to Dagan's rebellion. 3 remain unaccounted for, so Cal invites the crew to get back together to search for one. Seer elects to stay at the archives while Merrin joins the team, hoping to lock lips with Cal some more. When we land on Koboh, Turgle tells us that Z has been droid-napped by the Raiders and taken to their base in a swamp where Bode will wait for me. The section allows us to gain a whole lot of kills, ranging from Raiders to various forms of droids, including the iconic droidicas. Bode says they chose the wrong side. He follows that up by asking Cal what'll happen after they find Tanalorr, and suggesting maybe a bit of slap and tickle with Merrin until a metaphor separates the two and we're forced to split up while some familiar spy droids follow me around. While navigating this cramped space like a horror movie, there's a faint laugh right before Cal is violently pulled out of the wall by Ravis, who takes a saber to the chest like nothing. He steals the tuner in exchange for a hand, knowing damn well he'll grow it right back for our inevitable duel that won't happen quite yet thanks to BD-1. Immediately afterwards, we gain another force ability that allows me to get my kill total to the devil's number. Cal drops eaves on Ravis and Dagan's elevator chat, where we learn the tuner has been duplicated in case they lose it again. Dagan orders Ravis to get to the shattered moon while he retrieves Santari Khri's compass. They part ways and I locate Z, but in the process of freeing it, Dagan enters to show that his Schwartz is bigger than Cal's. Cal knows it's all about the motion and pulls the tuner to him, prompting our second confrontation with Dagan Gera. After 90 seconds of crossing sabers, Dagan tries to crush Cal, but then Bode flies in to distract him. Afraid of the spit roast, he destroys the platform we're on and dips out while Bode carries us to steady ground. With Z rescued, we leave the Raider base using some escape pods and fly the Mantis back to the moon to chase Ravis and begin a sacrifice.
Oh, and I might need some of your blood.
We step out and follow Ravis' ship, meeting several of his droid and Raider buddies along the way. Then Cal comes across a live leak video showing how Dagan loses his arm when he pushes Santari aside after she claims he's become a different person thanks to Tanalorr. She's not one to let that slide and slices his arm off and gets him prepared for the Bacta tank he'll spend the next couple hundred years in. Finally, we approach Ravis while he tells us about the time he peaked when he took on a bunch of Jedi in a death match, but Cal humbles him.
You're still just Dagan's servant.
Ravis will only tell us where to find the compass if we we fight him, beginning the first phase of our showdown with the Jedi. After about a minute of non-stop attacking, Cal cuts up his armor to reveal the hentai nature of our foe to start the second phase. After realizing Cal is too much for him, Rayvis yields and says we can find the compass in Santari's observatory on Koboh. Cal asks Rayvis to join him and fight Dagan together, but instead he declines and demands a higher honor, being kill number 707 on this kill count. We get back to the Mantis and tell the crew what happened, and while flying to Koboh, Cal confesses to Merrin that Dagan's obsession with Tanalorr reminds him of his obsession with fighting the Empire. Merrin promises to slap the shit out of him if he takes it too far. After landing on Koboh, we beeline it for the observatory while adding nearly 100 kills to my total that's capped off with a gauntlet of various Imperial forces. Then Respawn has the audacity to put the hardest fucking boss fight of any Souls-like game directly afterwards without a meditation point. In reality, this moment left me cracking up after realizing Rick is just an ordinary scout trooper that dies like one too. I continue on as Dagan's forces and the Empire take each other on, while also having to worry about dealing with me until I walk in on Dagan watching some old tapes of Santari that he angrily stops when he feels my presence. He plans to train an army on Tanalorr and once ready cleanse the galaxy.
We've already got an Emperor. Give us the compass.
The fight begins, and after a flurry of combat, Dagan grows a motherfucking force arm before continuing to toss Bode and Cal around, including taking the fight to the ceiling of this room. Dagan is able to strike Cal in the chest, rendering him temporarily debilitated, giving Dagan just enough time to talk our ears off, which then in turn gives Cal time to summon a force hallucination that makes Dagan see Santari again. This short distraction gives Bode and Cal the time they need to take him down together. With the compass, they take off towards Jedha, where Cordova confirms he can repair it. While he does that, the crew goes up to the rooftops to enjoy their victory, and Cal asks Cere if the hidden path will join them on Tanalorr to serve as a base and training ground to fight the Empire. Cere agrees, and after a bit more celebrating, Cal notices something bothering Bode, who claims to be thinking about his daughter and her safety. They hug it out before Bode checks out for the night, and Merrin convinces Cal to do away with Jedi virginity and comes in for a nightcap. The next morning, Cordova delivers a working compass, but things just can't be good for our heroes as the alarms start to blare and the Empire approaches the hideout from all directions. We turn around to find Bode pointing a blaster at Cordova and betrays us all by shooting him point blank and running off with the compass. This begins a sequence that has us get on a speeder and chase Bode the Chode through the Jedha desert as the Empire invades and loses a scout and TIE fighter in the process. Eventually, Cal tackles Bode in midair, sending both of them crashing to the ground, where he tells Cal to just go back to the archive and help his friends. But Cal is pissed, and when he goes to strike, he's forcefully pushed back by Bode, who reveals himself to be a fucking Jedi. What? Bode's betrayal wasn't much of a surprise, and in fact was somewhat expected, but this twist was not telegraphed at all, and I credit Respawn for distracting us with the more obvious betrayal twist and surprising us with this one. Bode winds up sending Cal over the cliff, who takes a rage nap, and the game tosses another twist our way when it has us take control of Cere Junda.
A lot of twists. Lot of twists in this thing.
While Cal took off after Bode, Cere and the rest stayed behind to defend against the Empire's forces, and they do a fantastic job of showing the power difference between Cal and Cere here, who absolutely fucking wrecks everyone in her path, gaining 136 kills in about 13 minutes time, including a couple AT-ATs. Despite all that, the Empire doesn't stand a chance when Greasy Money enters the fight sporting 4 blasters at once, but Cere tells him we need to give them a fair fight and stay behind while she runs to the archives to find the hidden path's contact codes before the Empire does. She hands those over to BD1 and has him run back to the Mantis as she senses something coming, which is a rematch with old Sith Daddy himself. I expected another fight with Vader in this game, and man did it deliver. It shows how powerful he is while at the same time showing off how much Cere has grown as a Jedi between then and now. He's able to double my death count before I finally end the fight, only to die anyway when Cere lunges at him to deal the final blow and winds up with his saber in them guts. Cal arrives to catch her as she falls and lets it all out while her life force fades away. They wrap up Cere's and Cordova's bodies and place them upon the Mantis, where we discover Bode left his locator beacon on. We track him to the Nova Garon system where Cal suspects his daughter is located. They agree it's probably a trap but go anyway and land on a base housing the Empire's secret police. As we search for Bode, we push our kill total into the 1000s before base leader Denvik makes things awkward.
Cal Kestis. I'd assumed the first time we met you'd be strapped to an interrogation chair.
Weirdo.
Denvik, being the guy that sent Bode to infiltrate our team, claims Bode lured Cal here to destroy the ISB and earns a massive concussion. Cal's been playing too much Hitman and does his best to blend in, but Bode's daughter Kata is no fool and knows he doesn't belong here. Eventually, Bode comes back and tells us the story of how the Empire killed his wife, but instead of running, he cut a deal with Denvik to work for the ISB while he kept his Jedi nature a secret. Knowing Cal doesn't care about that shit, he tosses the table and begins his escape. Cal earns a bunch more kills in this section while his anger starts to boil over and we toy with the dark side a little bit. But fulfilling her promise to be there for him, Aaron pulls him back and helps regain his composure before he force chokes Denvik to death, instead leaving his fate to Vader. Despite Bode's escape, we're able to follow him into the Abyss using instructions encoded within one of Santari's messages, but first we travel to Koboh, where I add 20 more kills at the control center and Z arrives to man the console while the Mantis crew makes the jump.
At least we will die together.
We narrowly avoid that fate and land safely on Tanalorr, where we locate Kata singing all by herself and introduce her to Marin. She apologizes for her dad's shitty behavior, who isn't done acting like a douchebag and turns down Cal's offer to still utilize Tanalorr as a safe haven for everyone. Instead, he wants to ensure his daughter's safety and thinks housing the hidden path here will endanger her, but he's a-okay with doing that himself. He commits an unforgivable act when he swats BD1 aside during their scuffle, cementing his fate. Admittedly, I got my ass handed to me by Bode. He has 3 phases in total, with the last one giving me by far the most trouble, tacking on 7 deaths in all to this turncoat. I finally defeat him and give him one last chance to give up and listen to his daughter, but he winds up grabbing Cal by his neck and doing the same with Marin using the Force. Sick of seeing people he loves die, Cal breaks Bode's grip and shoots him, then using the double tap method puts him down for good using the same blaster he gifted him on Jedha. Marin comforts Kata by telling her about her childhood on Dathomir, while Cal gathers the fallen Jedis for a funeral and the always incredible Star Wars music sends them off. He speaks to Seer posthumously about his doubts and his abilities to deal with what's to come, and she comes back briefly to tell him to guide Kata through the darkness. We cut to the title card and the credits roll, then watch a post-credit scene of our heroes getting ready to rebuild the hidden path on Tanalorr, and as Cal hands the compass off to Kata, we'll head into the final numbers. I finished Jedi Survivor with a whopping 1,151 kills, becoming the first non-God of War game to breach quadruple digits. This time my lightsaber made up over 62% of my kills despite my main stance also utilizing a blaster. Imperials were the majority of Cal's victims with over 50%, but he left behind plenty of scrap metal with droids providing over a quarter of my total kills. I more than doubled my death total from the previous game with 15 deaths in all. Fucking Bode the Chode humbled me in this game for sure. That puts my kill death ratio at 76.73. I finished the game in 19 hours and 27 minutes, which gives us a kill on average just over 1 minute and a death every 77.8 minutes. Jedi Survivor is easily the best Star Wars game to come out in years, and is arguably one of the best ever made. It's unfortunate that its release was riddled with technical issues, especially on PC. It accomplished what a sequel should by improving upon everything from the original, and I'm excited to see where Respawn takes Cal Kestis next. I still need to finish the God of War series, but after that I'm not entirely sure what I'll do. I want to find a way to deliver videos to you all more frequently and more consistently, so I'm going to try and get to a point where I don't always feel like I'm behind. Thanks as always for watching. I'm King Deschain, signing off for now.